So we need to have a discussion right now with Dana White and tell him some very important news and that he should value the integrity of the interim belt. Stipe versus Jon Jones is not the fight to make. It should not happen after Aspinall just flatline KO'd Sergey Pavlovich. There should be no doubt, there should be no way we should be thinking about Jon Jones versus Stipe. That is crazy. Now, this is kind of a follow-up video to my previous one that I made about, how Tom Aspinall will beat Jon Jones. But I want to talk about the current landscape of things and get more into depth about that. But I just don't understand why Dana White is so bullish on the fact that he wants to do Jon Jones versus Stipe
tonight, and obviously we wanted to have Stipe and Jon. Is that still the fight to make, or do you feel like maybe Tom deserves to fight Jon or deserves to fight Stipe, or maybe that's a better fight?
No, you do those two.
Right.
Those two both deserve that fight. That's the fight they want. What I love is that Jon Jones, as soon as he heard that he was injured and he knew how bad it was, went right to L.A., got the surgery, and he's already in rehab. So.
It just doesn't make sense whatsoever timetable-wise. I looked it up. The timetable to recover from a torn pec is like 3 to 4 months. Now, if this goes down the way it's supposed to go and the way Dana White wants it to go, it totally fucks over Tom Aspinall. Now, let me get this straight here. Let me tell you guys this. If Jon Jones fights Stipe Miocic, we will not see Tom Aspinall for over a year. And at that point, what is even the point of having an interim champion? Being an interim champion already is pretty much looked down upon. Like, you're not the guy. People view you as lesser than being an interim champion. People like myself don't even view you as having championship legacy or having an interim belt because you didn't beat the actual guy. You got it by beating some other guy who wasn't the champion. You're not truly the best in the world in the weight class if you don't have the undisputed belt. So skipping over Tom Aspinall not only ruins the integrity of the interim belt, but it makes the entirety of the heavyweight division look like a complete joke. And here's the thing with this. What was even the point of having Pavlovich versus Aspinall even happen if he's not going to fight for the belt later down the line? If you're just going to skip over Aspinall and give Stipe the title shot, what was even the point of having that fight in the first place between Pavlovich and Aspinall? There was absolutely no point because guess what? You could have had the fight as a normal contenders match and then let Aspinall fight Jon Jones after he beats Stipe or after Stipe beats Jones. That interim belt means absolutely nothing. It's like, hey, Aspinall, here's a little toy, here's a little robot toy for you, a little shiny little prize for you so you don't get pissed off after we fuck you over by making you wait for over a year. I don't understand it. Jon Jones is going to be out for quite a while now. He has to, recover from his pec tear and then get back into a training camp and then fight Stipe, then recover from that and then fight Aspinall. And that might even happen. He might just retire after he beats Stipe. So there's really no point to really even like having an interim belt in the first place. And I get it. Jon Jones versus Stipe is the fight to make. We want to see that. We want to see GOAT on GOAT. And the UFC definitely wants to market that GOAT on GOAT conversation and have a huge fight. But I mean, dude, it's been how long since Stipe's fought? It's been, over 2 years? And now he has to wait even longer for Jon Jones to recover and he won't fight anybody else besides Jon Jones? Like, I mean, at that point, if a guy's obviously ducking other contenders, I mean, we've seen guys get cut for way less in the UFC. We get pissed at Merab Dvalishvili for not wanting his title shot and letting Aljo get it over him, but we can have Stipe here actively duck top contenders to fight Jon Jones, which I guess you can't really say duck, but actively avoid top contenders to get a title shot, which he doesn't even deserve. And that probably isn't the strongest argument I could ever make because you can't really duck somebody to fight a guy who is higher on the list. But it's like, I just don't really understand the fact that we can still reward Stipe for almost kind of ruining 295. Let's be real here. I mean, he didn't really ruin 295, but he actively said no to an interim belt against Pavlovich or Aspinall. We see this time and time again in the UFC. Fighters who say no to matchups that might not be in their favor, they get screwed over. Fighters get I mean, obliterated all the time for saying no. Look at Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy said no to Miguel Pajea because he missed weight, and he got dunked on for it. Like, what has Aspinall done to deserve this? Like, what has he done to receive this kind of, like, undermining treatment from these guys? He has proven that he is the next up and comer, the next guy at heavyweight. If John Jones never moved up to heavyweight, it would be him versus Aspinall. Stipe would have to fight him or he would retire beforehand. I mean, dude, you fought Ngannou. You fought a guy who I think is kind of more scary than Aspinall in terms of just stature and one punch KO power. You fought him. And I know you beat him before in the past, and that probably led you to be more confident in your rematch with him. But still, my guy, like, you fought a crazy dude, but you won't fight Aspinall? What's going on? But I'm just rambling. But at this point, man, like, how do we boost the integrity of that interim belt? How do we make it feel real to people? Because if we just skip over Aspinall, that interim belt doesn't feel like anything. How do we make this something that fans, of people who don't think it's anything, how do we force them to recognize the interim belt as actually something that's worth chasing for and worth fighting for? And what we do is we make Stipe fight Aspinall, make that interim belt actually worth something, make it actually be an interim champion. What should an interim champion do? He should fill in the championship role while the actual champion is out. And once the champion comes back, then they match up. So if John Jones can't be back in time, how about we do fucking Aspinall versus Stipe so that interim belt feels like an actual belt that's worth something? Because if Aspinall actually defends that thing, it feels like a real belt to us. It feels like an actual championship belt. He just needs to fight John Jones to really make it the best belt ever. You know what I mean? And I see people all the time saying, make the interim belt silver, make it less deserved, make it feel less, make it feel overall not as important as the real belt, which it should. But if you want to have some value into that interim belt, maybe you should make somebody defend it, and defending it against Stipe Miocic would make it feel massive. It'd be a huge fight, and it'd be enough time to really prove who really should fight John Jones. My opinion, I think it should be Aspinall no matter what. Stipe is coming off a loss like years ago to Ngannou, a KO convincing loss. There's no way he kind of deserves to be in the title picture when you've been KO'd and have not fought, and you're getting blessed with John Jones. The UFC is doing him a massive favor by giving him John Jones. But Aspinall has worked for it. He fought the scariest dude in heavyweight right now. He fought Sergey Pavlovich, who was on a massive first round KO streak. He took that chance on short notice while having a bad back and beat Pavlovich. That is commendable, that is respectable, and he should be rewarded, John Jones, for the undisputed belt for that. But no, he's getting punished for it because Stipe is, I guess, a household name now. But guess what? In my opinion, Stipe, is he really even a draw still? Does he really put people in the seats? Does he really sell tickets? I don't know anymore. He's been so inactive. I don't know if Stipe really is that big draw that people make him out to be or that he should be anymore. A few years ago, I would be more inclined to agree with you, but now I don't know. That Tom Aspinall and that John Jones matchup in the future, that seems way more of a fun fight, way more unpredictable, way more exciting. Tom Aspinall, a guy who has like the shortest fight time in UFC history, and John Jones, arguably the GOAT if you don't count PEDs. We're talking about legit, like a legit up-and-comer. And if John Jones takes him out, he is like, no fucking, and like he's already no joke, but he's like really no fucking joke. Like John Jones is like never going to not be the best of all time for like over 100 years if he beats Tom Aspinall. There's no way he wouldn't be. And then on top of that, John Jones wants Stipe still. Why are we, listen, I know John Jones is the GOAT. I know that he is one of the best athletes, or is the best athlete to ever come to the UFC, if you don't count roids, obviously. I know that the UFC loves him, but why? What has John Jones really done besides win fights that has benefited the UFC? He has ruined a card before. He has done some really dirty shit as a human being. Like, if you don't remember, UFC 151, He refused to fight Chael Sonnen, and that whole event got canceled. Like, that genuinely messed things up for the UFC. He did not do them a favor by fighting Chael Sonnen. He's also popped for roids like, what, 4 times, man? Like, this guy has cheated in your sport. So not only did he ruin an event, he also cheated in your sport like 4 times, had to be suspended for it, then went out and hit a pregnant lady with his car. And before he moved up to heavyweight, he like supposedly his wife, you know what I mean? Like, he has done some very naughty things. If there's anybody in the world who doesn't deserve any favors from the UFC, there's anybody on the roster who deserves to be, not given the best outcome possible, it's most likely Jon Jones. And I know that he puts seats in the arena, and I know that he is your GOAT, but why do you continue to protect this man who has done so many things bad to you in the past? Stipe, to me, is not the most ideal matchup. And Stipe, he's like, what, 41 years old? He's going to be 42 by the time he fights Jon Jones or something. He's going to be a very old man. He was, actively limping at 295. Like, the camera came on him, bro. He did not look like he was stable on his feet. He looked like he was an old man. And we know, as much as people want to say, like, oh, Stipe would beat Jon Jones, it's an easier matchup than Aspinall. Tom Aspinall would give Jon Jones more problems than Stipe Miocic. I'm sorry. Like, I said it, man. Like, I genuinely believe that. Stipe is the heavyweight GOAT, and I know you want to treat him nicely, but at this point, man, like, it's not about treating Stipe nicely. It's about, why are you treating Jon Jones so nicely? Even though he's whatever you want to say, you do all this marketing for him, call him the baddest man on the planet, whatever, but he's not really been the best human in the planet. And even with that, do you want to make more money out of Jon Jones? Do you want to squeeze everything you have out of him left in his career? Because he's retiring soon. So do you want to make the most money possible out of Jon Jones right now before he retires? Him versus Stipe would objectively sell less than him versus Aspinall. Aspinall is a new big guy, the new dog in the yard. He's a new guy, the new promotable guy. If you want to promote an actual threat to Jon Jones that will have people buying pay-per-views, it's going to be Aspinall. It's going to be him. So make it. Make Jon Jones versus Aspinall. If you can't do that, if Jon Jones can't recover in time, let's do Stipe versus Aspinall for that interim belt to put some more credibility into that interim belt. That is what makes the most sense to me. I don't know what else makes any sense, really. We can't sit here and screw over Aspinall and make him not fight for over a year because we want to do Stipe versus Jon Jones. I don't care about it anymore. I want to see Aspinall versus Jon Jones. That, to me, is way more intriguing and way more of a dangerous matchup for Jon Jones. I'm more confident. Like, I am so confident that Jon Jones will beat Stipe that it's just like, you know what I mean? Stipe's up there in age. He's not looking as good. He's got KO'd in his last fight. He's been out for years now. And then you have fucking Aspinall, who just KO'd the scariest man alive, pretty much, not named Alex Pereira, who's also young and ready to go and ready to fight Jon Jones. I don't know. Like, it just seems way more intriguing to me to see Aspinall fight Jon Jones than Stipe. It makes, in my eyes, it makes perfect sense. In some others' minds, I guess it doesn't. I don't know. If you don't think so, if you don't agree with me, you know what? It is what it is. I can't be the most persuasive person in the world. And it's fair if you do want to see Stipe versus Jon Jones. That's fair. I don't mind that. If you're like so hell-bent on seeing Stipe versus Jon Jones, that's a fair point of view. Totally fair. But I think you really can't deny that Aspinall now is the more promotable fight between him and Jon Jones. Aspinall is not a star yet, but he is on the cusp. Like, he is, like, this close to being the biggest star that you've ever seen at heavyweight. He is, so promotable. Go back to the UK, go back to London. You can have a big market there now. You have him, Tyson Fury, you have Anthony Joshua. That market in the UK right now is getting very big. And if you want to take full advantage of it, you got to put Aspinall there for the belt. Got to do it. I want to see in May. I want to see 300, UFC 300. I want to see UFC whatever. I want to see May, April, March. I don't care when. I want to see Aspinall versus Stipe for that interim belt, or we can strip Jones. I didn't talk about that. That's probably the worst case scenario, that we strip Jones. People will not be happy with him being forced to vacate his title. But that, to me, seems like the best option. I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate it. If the UFC is like, you know what, Jon Jones, how about you vacate your title and you come back and you fight the winner of Aspinall versus Stipe, we'll add a higher percentage to your pay-per-view share if you do fight Tom Aspinall or Stipe after they fight each other. That to me would also be a great viable option that I wouldn't mind at all. I think it'd be great if we did that. But you know what? We can't have nice things, and Dana White, I think, is so hell-bent and so bullish on putting on this Jon Jones versus Stipe, which to me, as time goes on, it will be more and more forgotten about. People will kind of start to think less about Stipe and think more about Aspinall versus Jon Jones. I think as time goes on, like right now, Stipe's been out the game for so long, it seems like to me, he's kind of getting pushed, not that forgotten child, but he's kind of fading into the darkness while Aspinall is coming into the light. And that to me makes Aspinall way more and way, way more promotable and intriguing matchup for Jon Jones. So that's all I have for you guys today. It is what it is. Jon Jones and Stipe is probably going to be forced upon us, forced down our throats. We're going to have to pay $80 to watch Stipe probably get submitted or massacred by Jon Jones. I don't know. I'm kidding. I'm being a bit exaggeratory, but I would pick Jon Jones to beat Stipe pretty handedly. But Aspinall, different story. And I don't know. I think I would probably take Aspinall coming off of a pec tear. It's going to be a very long time Jon Jones has been out for, and being older and coming off an injury is never bueno. It's never good. So I don't know. It is what it is. I'm going to get out of here, guys. I've been talking for half an hour now. It is what it is. But I'm going to get out of here, man. We're so close to 1K. So you know what? Sub to the channel. Subscribe down below. Hit that subscribe button, please, for me. Get me to 1K. I would be so appreciative of that. It would make my day, make my week. I've been grinding for the past 6-7 months, so I would appreciate a nice sub to the channel. If you do enjoy my content, enjoy my takes, enjoy whatever I have to say, I would love you for that. But I'm going to get out of here. Like and subscribe again, and peace.